It's a very interesting title, isn't it? I mean, vloggers. I mean, your average vlogger is like a 12-year-old sitting in his mom's basement trying to get people to watch videos of him playing Mario Kart and then like crashing constantly. I mean, who cares? But today, that's not what vloggers are. Most vloggers today are actually getting quite serious about the task at hand. Today's vloggers are people that's older. Agreed, you still get the younger ones, but most of the people are a lot older. And most of them actually start making really, really good quality content. And for some reason, the camera manufacturers are not paying attention to the vloggers. The vloggers are growing. This group is growing. It's now a couple of million people big that trying to make good videos. And then you've got the professionals here, which is a little bit of professionals. But for some reason, the camera manufacturers are still only listening to them. They're not listening to all these vloggers. And all these vloggers are buying the cameras. These people will probably stick to the same camera for years and years because they're professionals. Unless they break their gear. But they won't switch systems. They won't upgrade if it's not necessary. I mean, they know their tools, they know the menus, they know all that stuff. They just want to get the job done. Somebody calls them, they go out, they do the job, they come back, they get paid, they're happy. They don't really need to upgrade. The vloggers, on the other hand, they are passionate. They want to make good videos. They want the latest and greatest tools. They're competing against each other for views and subscribers. They're buying new cameras every 2 years. They're buying all the cameras. These people are not. Why is the camera manufacturer still listening to these people? Agreed. You want to still satisfy them. You want them to still produce good content. But at least look at the bloggers. At least like, oh, hi. And then turn back. At least acknowledge that this mass of vloggers exist. Because everything's turning this way. Your traditional TV, television, and broadcasters, people are not watching them anymore. They are losing revenue. They are actually changing the way they work to fit this model. YouTube is growing. Patreon is growing. Instagram, Facebook, they are growing. That's where people are going to consume content. Not really traditional television anymore. I don't want people to tell me what I must watch and when I must watch it. I want to decide when I want to watch a video and which video I want to watch. And that's what the people are start coming to realize. So there's this movement of cash from year to year. So camera manufacturers need to start taking note. I mean, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Just stop and think about that for 2 seconds. 2 seconds. The second largest search engine. And even though there's been a couple of adpocalypses, people are still making money through YouTube. A lot of these YouTubers are still building their lives by just making YouTube. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube videos about quitting your job and only making YouTube videos. Literally sustaining yourself financially purely by making YouTube videos. So there's a lot of cash here. If YouTube doesn't pay them, they'll get through sponsors, through merchandise. If they have a Patreon channel, they get it through Patreon. They've managed to learn to make money, and they're buying all these cameras. They can afford the expensive cameras. Your vloggers are not your average kid sitting in a basement anymore. Your vloggers are now getting professional level. They start producing quality content. But manufacturers are still like, no, we want to listen to these people. And also these vloggers, a lot of them have more than one camera because they want an angle from here and from here and from there and from there. So even though they are technically a one-man band, they don't have other people helping them, they do have more than one camera. So a lot of them don't just buy one camera, they buy more than one. And if you want to buy a camera, what do? Let's say somebody says, oh, the EOS R has been released. What do? The first thing you do is go to YouTube. You ask YouTube, is the EOS R a good camera? And who decides if it's a good camera? These people, they decide it. They will say, no, it's shit. Or, no, it's good. It's up to them. even if the camera manufacturers put a lot of ads and stuff out there, these people will counter all those ads. The camera manufacturers will say, oh, this is an amazing camera. If the YouTube community says it's a shit camera, it's going to really hurt the sales from the camera manufacturers. So the camera manufacturers really need to start looking and listening to these people. That's where their cameras are going. That's who's telling the rest of the world to buy these cameras or not. They even make videos to say what's in their camera bags. Just YouTube search, what's in my camera bag. And you'll see how many results are there. These people advertise what cameras they use, what they use to make their videos. So it's pretty public knowledge. So if a manufacturer can make the perfect camera to keep all of the YouTubers happy, they will get free advertisements. They will get millions of videos about their cameras. They will get the rest of the world to buy the cameras. They don't even need to put ads out. The rest of the world will just YouTube what's the best camera, and a lot of these results will list. You don't even have to search on YouTube what's the best camera. You can just search on Google or Bing or whatever. These videos will pop up. But now, what's the difference between these cameras and the professional cameras? What's the requirements that makes this different? I mean, why don't you just use the same camera? The difference is that the professionals, the old school professionals that do from wedding photography and wedding videos to fashion shoots to documentaries to news reporters to all that kind of things, they tell somebody else's story. They don't tell their own story. They tell somebody else's story. So they can tell that person, cool, okay, I'll meet you there, and you prepare your gear, all your lights, your stabilizers, your lenses and everything, and you go there. They can manage the camera and everything, and this person, that whoever story they're making, that person he doesn't have to carry anything, he can just do whatever he has to do to create the story. The people on the YouTube side, or the Patreon side, they have to tell their own story. They have to physically hold the camera. They don't have lights. They can't afford to stop and quickly set up the stabilizer again and adjust it and carry on. And, oh wait, the light here is not good. Maybe go stand there and put a light on and plug something in. They don't have that luxury. It's a run and gun situation. So the gear they need is quite different to your traditional professionals. And these YouTubers also, most of them have an Instagram channel. They've got a Facebook page where they don't only document their own lives through video, they also do it through photos. So you need a camera that can take good photos and good video. Agreed, the photos doesn't have to be a 100 megapixel count photo because you're probably just going to post it on Instagram, but it still needs to be a decent camera. It can't be a video camera. It has to be a mirrorless camera or a DSLR camera that can do video and photo pretty good. There's also a lot of videos on YouTube about making really good videos. So these people on YouTube, the vloggers, as we call them, have become very highly skilled. Shooting B-roll, shooting cinematic footage, color grading their videos, using all the latest and greatest tricks to cut, chop, change, slow-mo, whatever it needs to make their videos better than the next YouTuber. So they've really pushed the boundaries of these cameras. You can't just give them a small camera or a cell phone and say, there you go, have fun. It's not going to work. They've become professionals now. One of the huge problems with that is that you need a camera that can shoot good low light. If you want good quality videos and you're going to be shooting B-roll, which is usually slow motion, and you don't carry studio lights around, you're going to have a low light problem. I mean, if you're shooting 120 frames per second, it means your shutter speed is going to be 250, 240, and you're indoors. You're like going, I don't know, to maybe an event, Comic-Con or whatever. You're making videos, shooting slow motion. If you don't have a camera that's good with low light, the footage is going to be horrible. You're going to have insane amounts of noise. And for that, you must have a full frame sensor. You can't get away with an APS-C or a Micro Four Thirds sensor. It just doesn't work in low light. especially if you start shooting slow motion, because you want that cinematic footage. Obviously, as I've mentioned before, the other thing they also need is good in-body stabilization. You can't carry around a gimbal. Some of the YouTubers do, and they manage to sort of plan around it, but just with my experience, it's a big schlep. If you carry a gimbal around or a glide cam, if you swap lenses, it doesn't work. You need to balance the thing. If you even adjust the lens so it's zoomed in, suddenly you have to also rebalance it again. You have to charge it. It's bulky. You can't put it down. It's not a very easy solution. That's why in-body stabilization is key to actually being a vlogger, and not the electronic stabilization, actual stabilization. Because electronic stabilization does this whole pulsating thing. It looks like the focus is pulsating, and there's a lot of shake. Because the motion blur, you can see the motion blur even though the footage is standing still. So it actually doesn't work. Obviously, an external microphone is key because you want good sound. You are running and gunning all over the show. There's lots of other sounds and stuff, so you need a proper microphone which you can plug in. Most cameras have that, so I'm not even going to go in there. And then also autofocus. Autofocus is key because you can't focus pull while you're recording yourself. That doesn't make sense. You need good autofocus because the camera, you're just going to record. The camera needs to keep up. So autofocus is also a really big feature that the cameras must be really good at if you want to sell cameras to this massive amount of millions of people sitting here. Obviously, the size and the weight's also a factor because you're going to be carrying this thing around. You can't have a camera that's very heavy. So that's why also traditional video cameras don't work, because they usually are very heavy. That's where mirrorless is perfect, because the lenses are smaller, the bodies are smaller. It's just so much better. And also you need a flippy screen because you need to see yourself. You need to check that your lighting is correct. You need to check that you're actually in focus. You need to check where your composition's sitting. You can't video record yourself if you can't see yourself. Obviously, you can put an external monitor, but then the size and the weight increases, which is the whole reason that you're going to this setup, is because you want something that's small and nimble so you can run and gun easily. So a flippy screen is a must. If there's no flippy screen, vlogger can't use that camera. That's basically what it comes down to now. If your camera doesn't have a flippy screen, vloggers are not going to buy it. Then also very high resolution, aka 4K, is very important because when you are running and gunning, you don't always get the perfect composition. So in post, you want to correct that. You also want to zoom in and out. A lot of vloggers like the whole, if they make a certain expression, so let's say they're amazed by something, they want suddenly the video to go into their face and out, just basically cropping it in and out, because that gives you that dramatic effect. Even though, according to filming standards, that maybe not is a good practice, but they still do it. People like their videos. It helps them to get views, so clearly it's working. Then also very good slow motion. If you want very nice cinematic shots, you want to show something off, you're going to want slow motion because you're going to need that nice, stable movement. Even if you are using a gimbal, your up and down shake, obviously a gimbal only works with rotation. It just keeps the camera from rotating, but it doesn't keep the camera from moving. So if you are showing something off, and especially when you're very close to your subject and you rotate around it, a gimbal, even if you use a gimbal, there will still be shake. Where slow motion cuts that out completely. You can do fast motions and the slow-mo just makes it look nice and crisp. So slow motion, and obviously with slow motion must be at high resolutions as well. So slow motion 4K, slow motion 1080p. You can't say, oh wait, you can do 120p but only in 720. That's not good quality. Obviously you need to be able to change lenses, because you need to show something there in the distance, and then you need to focus back on yourself. So you need a zoom lens, you need a wide angle lens, because you're going to be holding the camera close, because you want the microphone close to you, so your sound is very good. So it must need to change lenses. At least most of the cameras nowadays do that, so that's not a problem. And then another reason why you must have a full frame sensor is for bokeh or bokeh, whichever term you feel like using. Or, for those that don't know, a blurry background. A blurry background. So if you have a full frame sensor, it's much easier to get your background blurry. And that's also why the smaller sensors don't really work for vloggers. You must have a big sensor because you're not in control of the scene. There's going to be some guy at the back that's, I don't know, pulling his pants down or something to ruin your video. Or there's going to be a guy doing backflips or something like that that is going to distract people. There might be a dustbin or a junk heap or something in the background and you can't turn another way, or I don't know. There's always some distraction. And it's nice if you can just remove the attention to it a little bit by just adding a little bit of blur. That just keeps the attention on you as the vlogger, not on weird stuff going on in the background. So these are the basic requirements of a vlogging camera. And the first camera manufacturer that can give us exactly this will keep all these people happy. And these people will all advertise for the camera manufacturers and tell them, listen, this is an awesome camera. If you want to be a vlogger, buy this camera because it ticks all these boxes. Because at the moment, there's not one camera that ticks all these boxes. Sony doesn't have a flippy screen and they've got battery issues. So you're going to run out of battery, you're going to change a lot of batteries. Canon, the 4K doesn't work, it's cropped. You have to change lenses, not feasible. Slow-mo doesn't work well. Nikon doesn't have a flippy screen, you can't record yourself. Panasonic, sensors are too small, not good with low light. No shallow depth of field. The new S1 might be a solution, but it doesn't have a flippy screen. I don't know. They've improved the autofocus, but they didn't add a flippy screen. I mean, autofocus, meaning you're recording yourself. If you record somebody else, you can just pull focus. So why would they improve the autofocus for filming yourself, but not add a flippy screen? That's very weird. But anyway, let's hope they've added soon. Fujifilm, APS-C, so sensors a little bit on the small side, and they also don't have in-body stabilization. Oh, Canon also doesn't have the in-body stabilization. So at the moment, if you look at the major camera manufacturers that basically sell most of the cameras, there's not one that actually ticks all these boxes. The perfect vlogging camera doesn't exist yet. So we're still waiting for one of the manufacturers to maybe look at this video and understand us vloggers, what we want and what we need and what we will buy and what we will tell the whole world about, what cameras we need. Because if that camera exists, that camera manufacturer will probably skyrocket in sales, and even to the professionals, because the professionals also going to watch the YouTube videos about what camera to buy next. Even they will buy the next camera. Okay, so that is my list of things that a vlogging camera actually needs. If I've missed something, just drop some comments in the bottom, please. And then we can at least, if somebody that sees it that has some influence as to what these camera manufacturers decide, maybe they can notify them. This doesn't seem like a lot of these camera manufacturers actually even listen to the vlogging community. So, we're going to have to find some other way. Anyway, I'm just mumbling on now. This is me, Steven. If you've liked this video, then please remember to push the button. If you want to see more, then subscribe. Until next time, ciao.